Today, I'm gonna see if I can turn this pile of scraps into a functional pair of pants. This is either gonna be a complete masterpiece or a dumpster fire. There's no in between. So here's the challenge. Not all of my fabric pieces are the same size. Like, I have super tiny ones like this, and then I have super big ones like this, and they're just not consistent at all. So I don't know how I'm even going to piece any of this together to even create a functional pair of pants. So that is really the problem. That's problem number one. Problem number two is that I don't know if I'll even have enough scraps to create all 4 panels of the pants that I need to create the pants. Like, I need 2 back pieces and 2 front pieces to combine them into one whole pair of pants. I don't know if I have enough fabric to get me those pieces that I need, but we're just gonna see and hope for the best. Let's get started. So I'm gonna cut all of my fabric into 5x5 squares so I have a nice patchwork looking pants. And to do that, I'm gonna sort my scraps into 2 piles. One pile will be for the scraps that have a lot of fabric in them, to the point where I can get a decent amount of 5x5 squares out of them. And then a second scrap pile will be for the scraps that really I can't really get much out of them, but I'm still gonna try my best to work with them as best as I can. But I'm definitely going to start off with pile 1 and see how many squares I can get out of all the fabric that I have in that pile. And then hopefully I have more than enough with just using pile 1. But if I don't, then I'm going to move on to pile 2, where I'm just going to honestly work some magic. So these are all of the squares that I cut out so far, and I still have some scraps over here, but I'm gonna see if I can just work with this without having to cut out anymore, because I really don't feel like cutting out anymore after this. So now I'm going to get my pants pattern and start putting the squares on top of it to see how many squares I need widthwise and lengthwise to create all 4 panels of the pants. So I placed all the squares down on top of the pants pattern, and I figured out that I have to have 36 squares for each panel. So 36 squares gives me enough room to sew all the squares down and still have enough room to cut out the shape of the pants so that I don't run out of room. So now I'm going to gather all of this. That will be for one back panel pants, and then I have to do another back panel pants of 36 squares, and then 2 front panel squares, 2 front panel sets of 36 squares. So I need 36 times 4 squares total to create my pants panel. So I need 144 squares to create my pants, and I don't think that's 144 squares that I have cut out, so I don't know if I'll have enough squares, but let's just do the back panel, the other back panel, and then I'll see how many squares I'm working with for the front panel squares. Okay guys, I have 36 squares for the back panel, 36 squares for the other back panel, 36 squares for the front panel, and 36 squares for the other front panel. Now it is time to finally sew, and the way I'm gonna do that is by just sewing for one row of 4 at a time. So I have 9 rows of 4 squares. So it's 9 rows lengthwise, and in each row I have 4 squares. So I'm going to sew all 4 squares for all 9 rows for the back panel, the front panel. That's going to be a lot of sewing. And then I have to iron down the seams as well so that it lays flat, especially since it's patchwork. Like, I want it to lay as flat as possible. So I have a lot of sewing and ironing to do. Let's get started right now. It's currently 1:26, so I have a lot of time to finish these pants if I lock in. So let's lock in. Okay, so I finished attaching all of the squares together to create the 4 rows. So I have this back panel finished, this front panel, and then the other front panel. And now it's time to iron all of these. I already ironed the first back panel to make sure that it looked right. So now I'm gonna do this for the rest of this, and then it'll be time to attach them like this. So this will be the first row, and then this will be the second row underneath it. So that will be what I do next, but let's iron these now. So I finished attaching all of the squares. So now this is going to be for my 2 front panels for my pants. And then I finished the 2 that will be for my back panels as well. And now it's just time to cut out the shape of my pants on top of this. And then I can finally start sewing the actual pants together. So I'm gonna do the first one. So it's gonna be like this. Which one is this? This looks like the back panel. This is the front panel. So it's going to be like this. So I'm actually going to pin it down with my pins, and then I'm just gonna cut it out and then do that for all 4 panels. Okay, so I cut out my panels. So this is my back panel, the 2 back panels, and this is the 2 front panels. Now it's time to sew the front panels together, the back panels together, and then I'm gonna sew the front panel to the back panel to actually create the pants. So let's do all of that, and then at that point, hopefully I can try it on and it actually looks good, and then I can move on to the elastic waistband and hemming the pants, and then I will be done. So let's get started. Guys, I messed up. I messed up the entire pants. I cut them out wrong. So I cut them out on the right sides on both of them, but I was actually supposed to cut one panel out on the right side and the other panel out on the wrong side. So it should have been, the top panel should be on the right side, and then the panel under the top panel should have been flipped on the wrong side. So when I cut it out, it gives me exactly what I need, but I cut them both out on the right side. So now I can't make pants. Like, obviously I can figure out how to sew all the patches back together, but it's a weird curve and all that. I genuinely don't feel like doing that. So instead of making pants, I'm going to make shorts instead, which is perfect because it's summer anyway. So I have the front panel ready to cut out, but the back panel I need to attach like an extra strip so that my pants is wide enough, because if I do it as is, it's not wide enough for the pant legs. So let me show you guys exactly what I mean. So if I cut it out as is, this is how it fits on top of the already cut panel. This edge doesn't have any fabric with it, so I'm going to attach this right here so it gives it extra room, and then I will be able to cut that out just like this. The front panel is a little different. I only don't have a little bit of room on the very end, but I'm not worried about that. This is the important part, so I'm gonna attach this strip right here, and then I'm going to cut out this. But I was supposed to cut it out like this. So this is the front, the right side, and then this should have been facing this way, not facing the right side. So I should have cut it out like this so that the wrong sides are facing each other. That's how I should have done it, but I totally forgot how fabric works. So we're just going to pivot. So once I attach that, I'll cut it out and then actually start the shorts. Okay, now this is correct. So now I'm able to put both right sides together. The last time I tried, this end was on this end and it was just so off. So this is correct. And then all I do is take that, put this on the right side, and then have the right side facing me. And then I put this on top of it like this, and then I sew here, and then the same on the other side, and then it'll be like this, and then I'll put the back panel on top of the front panel and then sew all that together. Now let's actually get to sewing for real this time. So this is what the shorts look like now that I've sewn everything together. This is the inside of it. Now I'm going to hem the bottom and then put the elastic in a waistband, and then I will be done. But it fits really well, and I like that it's shorts instead of pants. So this ended up being great. So let's finish this so I can show you guys how it looks once it's done. Okay, let's go. Guys, I finished it. This is what it looks like. This is the back of it. And this is the front, the side, the other side. I love it. I'm just happy that it ended up working out in the end, because honestly, that was gonna be my 13th race. But I'm happy it worked out, and honestly, I love the shorts, especially since it's summertime anyway. I think this is perfect. I can't even believe I messed up, but this was honestly, this was actually my very, very first time making patchwork shorts or pants in general, so I didn't really know what to do. I can't believe I cut it out wrong, but who cares? We still made it work, and that is what is important. And the coolest part about these shorts is that the scraps came from these bags that I made, which are on my Etsy shop, so you can get them there if you want to. But look, you can see this. I don't know, this is the green one, so that came from this bag, this bag. Then I have the pink, and that came from this bag right here. I also have, where's the blue? The blue right here, which came from this bag. And then I have the blue floral, which came from the floral bag in between there. And then a green, the green is right here, and that came from this bag. I successfully created a pair of shorts using only my scrap fabric, and that was literally all the fabric I had anyway, so I could only create with using my scrap fabric. But that was a fun, super fun project, and I have so many of my squares left over, so I'm gonna see if I can make something else with that as well. I don't know what. I could make like a top to match the shorts as well. I'm not sure, but I do know that I have some left over, so I want to see what I can use with the scraps of scraps. But this was such a cool project, and I loved working with the scraps and seeing the scraps that I used from other projects. I think that is just so cool, and that's why I saved every single scrap fabric that I had from my very first project. So this right here, in fact, is from one of my very first projects, and I saved those scraps because I was like, I don't know what I want to do with it, but I knew it would come in handy eventually, and it did. Anyway, that is it. Thank you guys so much for watching, and I'll see you guys in my next video.